Isn't it ironic? Stupid controller. Isn't it ironic that Edge is on 3 shows and people actually love it? Why am I not surprised? I'm not shocked to hear about this. You want to know why? Because it's one of their faves. The fact that there are people that, like... I don't understand this community sometimes. And I love WWE to death. But I never understand why people are so okay with nostalgia. With nostalgia acts coming back to the company. Taking opportunities from people that actually deserve it. People want to know, and then sooner or later people will get the memo that someone leaves the company. And then they're like, oh, they left because of this reason. Oh, I can't blame them. Come to AEW. You know what I'm saying? I find it pathetic. I find it pathetic how people enjoy nostalgia, but at the same time they hate it. They love nostalgia because, oh, they'll see a good wrestler like Edge or Carlito come back. And you'll get people like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg coming back. And you'll even see Big Show and Kane. Maybe they'll come back every now and then. And then you get people so upset. Seeing them there, but yet they're okay with someone like Edge. I get it. He can still go in the ring. So what? People need to understand that not everybody is going to enjoy what you like. Because this has been the big key element here about Smackdown this week, that there were so many people, like, all week long. Not just for Smackdown, all week long. All week long, people would not shut up about how great Edge is. Oh, look at him. He shook Damian Priest's hand. He put over Damian Priest. He shook Priest's hand. He shook Balor and Dunn's hand. Oh, he shook Nakamura's hand. What a great man is Edge. What a great honorable man, putting them over. How is sticking your hand out and another guy sticking out their hand and doing this? How is shaking someone's hand classified as putting somebody over? How? How in any way, shape or form is shaking another man's hand putting over? I don't understand that. The only vision of I know about putting somebody over is if Edge lost to these superstars in a wrestling match. That's my knowledge of what the whole term putting over means. Then I guess Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair shouldn't worry about their WrestleMania match then. All Sasha Banks needs to do is walk up to Bianca Belair and shake her hand and say, match over. We don't need to do our match. We can just shake hands. And I've immediately put you over. I've immediately put you over by shaking your hand. To this community, shaking somebody's hand equals putting somebody over, and losing a match equals buried. This is the world we're living in. This is the community we're living in. People who think losing a match means you're buried, shaking people's hands means you're putting another guy over. I mean, give me a frickin' break. Edge didn't do goddamn shit to put these guys over. He didn't do anything. All he's done is taken their opportunity. All he's done is taken Shinsuke's future chance at revenge on Roman Reigns for stopping him from winning the gauntlet. That's all Edge did. That's all Edge did. Edge did not put anybody over. People don't and that's another thing. People don't respect other people's opinions. When another person disagrees with how another person feels, they'll get all wild up about it. They will. They'll get wild up about it, and then they'll get mad. But as I said at the beginning, I find it ironic that fans loved seeing Edge 3 times a week. But yet, Charlotte Flair, when she did it, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare that she did it. But I guess as long as it's your favorite superstars, you don't mind seeing their faces 3 times a week. I guess as long as it's your favorite superstar, you are okay with seeing a certain superstar every single week. That's how I view it. That's how I view it. I view it as you not liking something, you not liking a certain wrestler doing it because it's someone you don't like. But then you will play your hypocrisy card and place it down in attack mode and praise. You'll play your Edge card in attack mode, and then you will summon it onto the field, and you will allow it to be on all 3 shows, and you will enjoy it. Yes, I know, I did a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. Seriously. It's only good when you like it. It's only good when it benefits your favorites. That's how it works. Charlotte being on 3 shows a week? Hell no, screw that. Let's have Edge appear on every single show. Let's have Edge appear on Raw. Let's have Edge on NXT, and let's have Edge on Smackdown. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. Yeah, I really want to see a 47-year-old man. And as I said before, I don't care about the Edge comeback story. I do not care about it. I don't care if you're a fan of Edge. I just do not care. I just don't care. You can't make me care. And why should I care? But anyway, I've been more ranting about Edge than... Well, Edge was on this show, so I guess it is me talking about SmackDown in a way. But you guys get my point. I'm not a fan of Edge being on 3 times a week, and I'm just not a fan of Edge being back, period. So you guys get the point. So the show began with Roman Reigns. The one thing I'm kind of... Now, last week we started off differently. We started off with Daniel Bryan. But now we go right back to the same old formula with Roman Reigns starting off the show. Roman Reigns calls out Edge. Like, that's a smart idea, Roman. But he does it anyway. Edge doesn't come out. So he gives Edge by the end of the night to make his decision. And our first match was Dominic Mysterio facing off against King Corbin. Yeah, like we want to see this for a 3rd time. Dominic wins. He beats King Corbin this time. Because he beats King Corbin this time. Who cares? Who cares, right? Then we have Cesaro facing off against Daniel Bryan. This was a really fun match. And the thing I enjoy about this is that what Daniel Bryan is doing is the true meaning of putting another talent over. This is another... What Daniel Bryan did is the true meaning of putting somebody over. Daniel Bryan took on Cesaro, and Cesaro got the victory. He won with the sharpshooter. Last time they fought each other, Cesaro won with the neutralizer. This time, he wins with the sharpshooter. Daniel Bryan is making Cesaro look like a star. That is the true definition of putting somebody over. Not shaking another man's hand. Even though Cesaro and Bryan did do that at the end, well, they fist bumped, not shook hands. They fist bumped at the end of the show, at the end of the match. But this is great news for Cesaro. He signed a new contract with WWE. Cesaro is staying put in WWE. He's not going anywhere. So he's re-signed at the company. And now it looks like Cesaro is in for a strong push. And I like this. I like it. I like that they're now giving him a push. Cesaro has been long overdue for a push. And I'm so happy about it. So this is going to be good. To see where this whole Cesaro push leads. And we had some women's action. We had Bayley. We need an 8K cam entrance of Bayley. We finally saw Bayley make her entrance because the last few weeks she got the jobber entrance. But this time it was Ruby that got it. Because everybody has to have it apparently. But Bayley took on Ruby Riott in a decent match. Billie Kay was at ringside. Billie Kay was still trying to help the Riott Squad, still trying to get on their good side. But Billie Kay, in the end, once again costs Ruby another matchup. Not just Ruby, the Riott Squad makes them lose again. And Bayley wins with the Rose Plant, planting Ruby Riott down. And that's that. So Bayley back on her winning ways. Bayley and Bianca didn't have an interaction, and it kind of makes me think that Bayley's feud with Bianca is over. They both scored one match apiece, so clearly they have to have a third match. I thought it was interesting that Bayley had no interactions with Bianca right after this. I feel like either the feud's over, or they're probably just putting this on hold. To me, this is giving me the impression that the feud's over because the next thing that came up next was Bianca Belair, the EST. She came out looking like she was ready to make her decision on who she was going to face. But then all of a sudden, Reggie, little old Reginald, comes walking out to the ring. And he gives Bianca a bit of a pep talk, and this is the kind of thing that kind of got me a little bit concerned. Because they're hyping it up as that Bianca Belair can't beat Sasha Banks. Reginald stated that if you picked Asuka, you would have more of a chance of winning, but if you pick Sasha Banks, you will not win. So they're kind of trying to build a story that Bianca can't beat someone like Sasha. Then Carmella would come to the ring. Carmella would, she'd talk all this crap, all this nonsense. Like, what is she talking about? She didn't beat Sasha Banks twice. She only beat Sasha Banks once. I don't know where she got that nonsense from. I guess did she beat Sasha Banks in Appleton? When did she beat Sasha Banks? I only remember her beating Sasha Banks in a tag team match. She didn't beat Sasha Banks twice. She must have won it. She must have won it at a house. She must have won it at a house show named in Appleton. Whatever. Carmella is being as stupid as always. Sasha would come to the ring. She would come out and she'd say she's had her eyes on Bianca for a while. And she believes that Bianca now has her attention. Reginald would once again go back to his what he said earlier, telling Bianca Belair, if you pick Sasha Banks, you will lose. Sasha Banks did her signature little laugh that she normally does. That little laugh. And Bianca would just start beating the crap out of Reginald with her hair. Now, I want to get on a bit of a topic here about this feud between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, which is most likely going to be taking place. It feels like Bianca is going to be moving on to a program with Carmella, maybe? It feels like maybe now they're going to move her onto a program with Carmella. This is why I feel like her feud with Bayley is over. Because in reality, you really should have had Bayley come out in this segment. But no, they didn't. But anyway, but that's not really the discussion I'm going on here. All week long, and I don't get it. All week long, for some reason, fans want Sasha Banks to turn heel in this feud with Bianca Belair. They want her to be the heel. I get it. If you're a fan of heel Sasha, I can probably understand that. But it doesn't make sense to turn Sasha Banks heel. It doesn't. She just got advertised for Dayton NASCARs. She just got announced for that. NASCARs. Mainstream. That is what a babyface is for. That's what babyfaces are meant to do. Become mainstream attractions. Sasha Banks is mainstream attraction. She is a mainstream, and because of where she's positioned in WWE, it doesn't make sense to turn her heel. Sasha Banks is technically the face of the company. She's technically the number one babyface in all of WWE, the face of the company. People were saying that she should turn heel. I was telling people, she's the face of the company. You can't turn someone who's the face of the company heel. And I had some people say to me, well, Roman Reigns is technically the face of the company and he's a heel. How? How is Roman Reigns the face of the company? How is he the face of the company as a heel? You can't be the face of the company as a heel. The face of the company is someone that the face of the company is someone who the fans are supposed to cheer for. The number one liked superstar on the roster. That's what face means. Face means good guy. Heel means bad guy. Sasha can't be a heel and be the face of the company at the same time. It doesn't work that way. If Sasha Banks turns heel, that means she loses her status as the face of the company. She's the face of the company! The number one babyface! Well, at least for the women. For the women, she is. Drew McIntyre took Roman Reigns' position as the number one babyface for the men. People still tell me Roman Reigns is the face of the company. No, he's not. He's a heel. Drew McIntyre is the face of the company. Drew McIntyre and Sasha Banks are your number one babyfaces for both divisions. The point I'm trying to say is that everybody believes that Sasha Banks should turn heel. I don't think so. It makes more sense for Bianca Belair to turn heel than Sasha Banks. Or, don't do any. Or, don't turn neither heel. Just keep them both babyface. Treat it as just a babyface versus babyface match. You could just do that. You don't have to always turn someone heel just to gain a match. The thing that came to my mind is that the last time we had a fresh face win the Royal Rumble, that was Shinsuke Nakamura in 2018. What happened to him? He went on to face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. He lost, and then he turned heel. That was the immediate reaction. That was the immediate thought that came to my head. I was thinking, you know, they could kind of do the same thing with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks if they really wanted to. They could have had Sasha win the match. They could have Sasha beat Bianca, which, by the way, that is the result that needs to happen. That is the only result that matters to me, and That is the only result that matters to me. Is Sasha Banks getting a win. Sasha Banks needs a victory at WrestleMania. She needs her WrestleMania moment. She desperately needs a win. She's 0-5. She hasn't won a WrestleMania yet. Now, if she had a couple of wins on the board at WrestleMania, I'd say, okay, Bianca can win. I'd say Bianca Belair should win against Sasha Banks if Sasha Banks maybe had at least one win on her plate at WrestleMania. But because she doesn't have a single win on her plate at WrestleMania, why would you want to go through the effort to turn her heel? Why? Why would you turn her heel? If you turn her heel, she's guaranteed to lose. She's guaranteed a loss if you turn her heel. Yes, some heels win at WrestleMania, like Bayley last year, Seth Rollins when he came out to cash in his Money in the Bank. But Sasha Banks is guaranteed to lose if she's a heel. Bianca Belair needs to be the heel. I feel like Bianca Belair as a heel would work better for Sasha Banks. It would work so much better for Sasha Banks because Bianca can play off the fact that Sasha's never won at WrestleMania. She can be a dick to her. Just like how Bayley was a dick to Sasha, saying that you can't win the big one. You can't retain. That was the story that they did with Bayley when Sasha won the title from her. She said, oh, you can win a title, but you sure as hell can't keep one. That's the story they did with Bayley when Sasha won the title. And then, and now, Sasha's retaining all the time. And then you can have Bianca be in the same position as Bayley. You can have her in the position where she's confident that she can beat Sasha Banks. Instead of having Reginald come out and saying, oh, you can't beat Sasha Banks, to me it should have been more like Reginald. Should have been more like, oh, hey, Sasha's never won at WrestleMania, so you got a good chance to beat her. Carmella knows that. Everybody knows that Sasha Banks hasn't won at WrestleMania. So they can easily play off the fact that Sasha's never won at WrestleMania. That is what Bianca Belair should be. She should be an arrogant woman. She should be an arrogant woman that is so confident that she can beat Sasha Banks because she doesn't have a victory at WrestleMania. That's why Bianca needs to be the heel and not Sasha Banks. Because if Sasha's the heel, you may as well just pencil in another L. You may as well just write that letter 6 next to her loss record at WrestleMania. Because if she turns heel, she's done. She is done. She is losing the match 100%. I don't agree with the people that think Sasha should be a heel. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the people saying that Sasha being the heel is what needs to happen for this storyline. It doesn't. And Sasha being the heel doesn't make her the face of the company. She's not going to be the face of the company if she's a heel. Same thing with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is not the face of the company if as a heel. He's not. To be the face of the company, you have to be a babyface. Drew McIntyre and Sasha Banks, they're your baby faces. They're your faces of WWE. And it needs to remain that way, especially for Sasha. Then we had the blue-collar working man. Otis teaming up with Chad Gable to take on the Smackdown Tag Team Champions Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And Ziggler and Roode have new music. They now have music, and now they've got new music. I don't know if this is just their tag team music or if this is officially their new music. If it is officially their new music, then RIP, here's to show the world And R.I.P. Glorious Domination. I just think it's their tag team music. I just think it's just their new theme as a tag team. Not really a big fan of it, to be honest, but whatever. Ziggler and Rude won this match. Rude would pin Chad Gable. Then we'd have the Intercontinental Triple Threat match. Big E faced Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn. And Big E would go on to retain. I didn't think Big E was losing the title this soon. I feel like he will lose the title when Apollo Crews turns heel. When Apollo Crews turns heel, that's where I think that's the perfect time for Apollo to turn heel. When he beats Big E. Him turning heel needs to lead to him winning the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like I feel like WrestleMania is probably where I think it would probably take place. Other than that, I don't really know what else you could do with it. So Big E retained the Intercontinental title. I didn't think Big E was losing. Then we had Roman Reigns and Edge in the main event. Great. The man that everybody wants to see, Edge. He came out, and before he could reveal his WrestleMania decision, Roman Reigns would come out. Jey Uso would leave because Edge thinks Jay's out there to attack Edge. Jey would leave. And before Edge could make his decision, Kevin Owens comes out of nowhere and delivers a stunner to the Tribal Chief. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh my god, Kevin Owens getting another opportunity at the Universal Championship. You know what? I would rather Kevin Owens have multiple title shots at the Universal Championship than Edge. I would rather Kevin Owens than Edge. I would rather anybody than Edge. I would do a triple threat at WrestleMania. I'd do Roman Reigns, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. That's what I'd do. And I'd have Edge face Drew McIntyre. And there's rumors about the NXT Championship possibly being defended at WrestleMania. Sweet! I'd do Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, and Karrion Kross, or Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Karrion Kross. Or just Finn Balor and Karrion Kross. If that is indeed true. Yeah, the main event, the final thing that happened I didn't really care about. Because it's Edge. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining me for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. And I will see you all next time.